Welcome to this explainer. Look, we're going to completely demystify the water filtration market today. If you've been shopping for a filter lately, you know it's incredibly overwhelming out there. Every single brand claims to be the absolute best. But today, we're stripping away all that marketing fluff. We're using rigorous, independent lab testing data to help you cut through the noise and find the exact right system for your home, your budget, and ultimately your health. Let's get right into it.
First up, I've got to ask you a serious question. Do you know exactly what's hiding in your tap water right now? Is it lead, disinfection byproducts, uranium? The reality is, blindly buying the most popular filter off the shelf just isn't going to solve the hidden dangers of your specific municipal or well water. Water quality varies wildly from city to city, heck, even from house to house. You really need a targeted approach here.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for the explainer. We'll start with the setup. Move on to our countertop champions, explore the under-sink heroes, scale things up to whole house and appliances, and then finish off with the wrap-up. By the end of this, you'll know exactly where to find the solution that fits your living situation. Number 1, the setup. Let's establish exactly how these 2026 water filters were evaluated, because we definitely aren't just reading off spec sheets today.
So our data-driven authority? It comes from actual hands-on installation. We literally installed every single filter we're going to talk about in real residential homes in Colorado, not in some pristine, perfectly controlled laboratory. We took baseline samples of the tap water, ran the systems, and then shipped that filtered water off to an accredited third-party lab to test for over 111 different contaminants. Finally, we scored every unit across 6 weighted categories, with contaminant reduction obviously carrying the most weight. This is real-world performance, pure and simple.
Moving on to number 2. Countertop champions. These are absolutely perfect if you're renting or just want zero plumbing installation.
957. Now that impressive number is the overall score out of 10 for the AquaTrue Carafe Countertop Reverse Osmosis System. Out of literally all the systems tested in 2026, we're talking undersink, whole house, pitchers, the whole shebang. This was the absolute highest scoring water filter across the board. No contest. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why it scored so high. The AquaTrue Carafe achieved flawless, 100% lab-verified removal rates for some seriously nasty contaminants like fluoride, uranium, and disinfection byproducts. Plus, it actually holds an official IAPMO certification for reducing a staggering 83 different claims. And the best part? It collects all this beautifully pure water right into a glass carafe, keeping your drinking water totally away from plastic storage tanks. Now, if you want something a bit smaller and a little more budget-friendly up front, I have to briefly shout out the Culligan Zero Water. Earning a massive 9.33 out of 10, it absolutely took the top spot in the traditional pitcher category. In our lab fests, it literally eliminated every single health-related contaminant in the water. It's just a fantastic, low-barrier entry point into genuinely clean water.
All right, moving to number 3, under-sink heroes. Let's dive deep into the nuances of the heavy hitters that install right under your kitchen sink.
Now, real quick, before we look at the winners, we need to define a little jargon so you understand exactly why some filters score higher on purity than your standard carbon blocks. Reverse osmosis, or RO, is a process that forces water through a semi-permeable membrane at super high pressure. Honestly, think of it like a microscopic bouncer that kicks out almost every dissolved solid, heavy metal, and chemical. But because it's so incredibly thorough, it usually requires a remineralization stage to add the good minerals back in.
So, we need to openly discuss the trade-offs between RO and non-RO systems. RO gives you unparalleled maximum purity, but, and it's a big but, it inherently wastes some water to flush the membrane, and it can drop your water's pH if you don't remineralize it. Non-RO systems, they have zero water waste, usually feature a much faster DIY install, and they naturally leave those healthy minerals right in your water. It really comes down to finding the balance that works best for your priorities.
Which brings us to the best overall undersink system we tested, the Cloud RO, rocking a massive 9.24 score. This thing brilliantly solves traditional RO problems. First off, it includes built-in remineralization, which in our tests boosted the water's pH from an 8.4 up to a highly alkaline 9.7. Second, it wastes vastly less water than traditional ROs, boasting a 1-to-1 pure-to-wastewater efficiency ratio. And it does all this for a super reasonable 26 cents per gallon in maintenance costs.
Let's move to and see how this builds when we compare tankless RO options. These are awesome for saving precious space under your sink. When you stack the WaterDrop G3 P800 against the FrizzLife PD600, you'll see the FrizzLife is a phenomenal budget pick at under $400. But the WaterDrop? It's truly exceptional. It pushes a massive 800 gallons per day, avoids that annoying TDS creep where stagnant water gets contaminated, and it has an incredible 3-to-1 pure-to-waste efficiency ratio.
But hey, what if you completely hate the idea of wasting water? Well, the Clearly Filtered system is the undisputed champion of the non-RO category, scoring a stellar 9.18 overall. It eliminated uranium, fluoride, and chloroform, which are notoriously tough to filter out, and it did the whole thing without creating a single drop of wastewater. Plus, you can install it yourself in about 15 minutes, since you don't even have to drill a hole for a drain line. It's a total game changer.
All right, number 4, whole house and appliances. It is officially time to expand our scope from just drinking water to protecting your home's entire plumbing system.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this massive number right here, 1 million gallons. That is the lab-tested filtration capacity of the Springwell CF whole house system before you even have to think about replacing the main filtration media. It's basically a true set-it-and-forget-it behemoth for your home.
So, looking at the specs, the Springwell CF scored an 8.52. It achieves this massive capacity by utilizing a combo of KDF and catalytic carbon media inside a giant tank. In the lab, it verified a 96% reduction in lead and 100% removal of disinfection byproducts. And because it filters up to 1 million gallons, the ongoing cost is literally an almost unbelievable fraction of a penny, $0.0013 per gallon. You're getting lab-verified clean water to every single shower, sink, and fixture you own.
And speaking of protecting your home, please don't overlook appliance-specific filters. Simply adding a universal, anti-allergy, hard water filter to your washing machine inlet is an incredibly easy fix. They have a 3 to 6 month lifespan, install in minutes with standard plumbing, and they pull out limescale and dust. This softens your hard water, meaning way cleaner clothes, and acts as incredibly cheap insurance to safeguard your expensive washing machine from scale buildup and premature failure.
Number 5, the wrap-up. We've covered a massive amount of ground today, so let's summarize how to actually evaluate your final decision.
So, the crucial point is cost per gallon. Listen, the upfront price tag of a water filter is essentially a trap. It is absolutely not the whole story. Calculating the long-term cost per gallon for replacement filters is the true secret to buying a system. Notice how the Culligan pitcher is super cheap up front, but then costs 90 cents per gallon to maintain? Meanwhile, that Springwell whole house system is pricey up front, but it costs a tiny fraction of a penny per gallon over its lifespan. You've got to look at the long-term math based on your own household's water consumption.
Which leaves us with one final vital question. Have you lab tested your own tap water yet to find out exactly which filter you actually need? Because as we've learned in this explainer, you simply cannot fight an enemy you can't see. So empower yourself. Get a third-party water test done for your tap, look at the data, and then refer back to these lab-tested 2026 winners. That way you can confidently choose the perfect, data-backed filter for your home. Thanks so much for learning with us today.